Shut the front door. Hey guys, Wheatywaffle here today, and we are back in City Skylines 2 playing our city of Lethe. And, we ended the last part, I think, finally getting to a better place with our numerous issues related to our economy. We are making positive income, which is fantastic. I did make a few small adjustments here to our tax rate. I reduced the industrial tax rate by 2%, increased the office tax rate by 2%, and I believe I left the commercial and residential the same. I can't actually recall. And so what we're going to do right now is I'm actually going to reduce this by 1. Dicey. I know we're not working with a lot of funds here, but I think it's going to be worth it in the end. What I would like to do is we received a ton of new buildings in a recent unplanned update that just kind of dropped out of nowhere, which I'm very excited about. And because of that, we now have some buildings I think that will fit better into our city and make a bit more sense. So while we wait for our different demands to kind of just correct themselves, which I think is just going to take time, I want to just mess around with some of the new buildings that we've got. And I will say, if you notice, like this here is a high density commercial building. It's no longer abandoned. This here is a mixed use building. It's still available for rent. These here are both mixed use. Like we have a lot of retail that needs to be filled in. But it is looking better. There are some buildings I'm noticing, like over here, we've got a high density commercial building coming in. Things are turning around. I think it's just going to take time for that to happen. And I do also want to note, looking over some of our statistics here, looking at a time scale of 1 year, we can clearly see where Economy 2.0 came into effect, right here, just before July. And this is where all of my changes to our tax rates really took a hit. I mean, our commercial economy was destroyed. Our office economy and industrial economy are also nearly destroyed. But if you look over the course of the past year, we have more office and more industrial economy than we ever had, ever, since we started this game. So within 5 years, right? So that's a great achievement. And we're starting to go back up with our commercial jobs. So I think it's just going to continue to take time. And for that, we just have to wait. So while we wait, let's try to make some adjustments with some of the new buildings we got. We're just going to start right from the top. In the road section, they have added in some additional roundabouts, which is amazing to me because this little just grass circle was just not it. Like that is not it. So now what size is this? This is a large. So this is the default. This is what we had starting the game. They have added 2 additional ones. They have added in a large roundabout with trees and bushes. Fantastic. And those will obviously grow up as they sit there. And there's also a large concrete roundabout with bushes. Because we're in the heart of the downtown, I like the idea of having this be concrete and then have those bushes grow up a little bit over time. But I think that's going to look really nice. And looking at our city, we don't have a ton of other roundabouts, actually. Hold on. Do we have any that I would want to change? Ooh, this one here in front of our train, which I do just want to say, in general, one of the best train stations ever. I love the large parks in front of it. I don't think anyone even uses these parks. That's not true. Some people do, including Lilia Gibbs. Go ahead, Lilia Gibbs. But no one's using this. So let's go ahead and replace this one as well. Again, I think this one's a large. Yeah, I think this one will put the trees. I think that's going to look really nice. But just giving us a bit more just customization, which I think is what's needed. That's so useful in this game. Power, I don't think there was any changes there. And I think there was a small change here. We have a small water tower now. We don't need this, so that's not something I'm going to be building. So I don't have to worry about that. Now, this is where big changes are going to happen for us. We now have access to a small medical clinic. Basic healthcare for a small community can pick up patients with ambulances helps citizens in its service area remain healthier. This costs $30,000 to build, and the upkeep is between $7,000 and $21,500, whereas the medical clinic costs double to build, and the upkeep goes all the way up to $72,000 per month. Now, there are some changes. Obviously, the patient capacity is much less, by about a fourth, and they have fewer ambulance. But if we go and look at our health services, right? No one lives in this neighborhood here. And if we look here, we've got 48 of 100 patients. There's 20 of 20 employees. There are 3 vehicles in use, and it has an extension wing to support additional patients. That's coming from all the ground pollution we have over here, which is slowly subsiding, but we're getting good use there. Let's go find another clinic. We got this clinic here. Ooh, this clinic actually has 100 of 100 patients, so that's not something we can replace. Clinics. We've got health, death care there. Right here we have a clinic. 67. It's costing 78 total. Okay, we'll leave it. What about the one that's over here? We have another clinic. 101. Oh my God, you just need like a straight up expansion. Like you can't even support the number of patients you have. So let's give you an expansion. You're using 4 or 5 vehicles, so I'm actually going to... This was supposed to save us money, and here I am already jumping in, spending more money. I am going to make a change. I want to see what this looks like. So we're going to remove this building, which is overlapping some item somewhere. Somehow this clinic is overlapping this piece of sidewalk. So we're going to just... anarchy that puppy, because that makes 0 sense. And instead, we've got our bus stops right here. We're going to place down this small clinic. Let's see how she looks. Anarchy's off. We'll place it right here on the corner. It's going to service far fewer patients. I'm okay with that. It does, however, free us up to build some additional housing. We are going to place that housing along this road. So let's grab our paths. Oh, we also have surfaces. I'm very excited to use surfaces. So let's grab our paths, place the path right here, delete this guy. Nope. Let's just leave the path, I guess. And then let's place in a few more buildings. We don't really need them right now. However, eventually we will. And I want to be prepared. So now we've got some additional buildings there, which is going to be great. This is already using 2 of its 3 vehicles. It can't be upgraded, and that's okay. This is a small area, and eventually we're going to have a hospital, so we'll get to servicing the rest of this city in a bit. Now let's go look at our... Don't really care about the recycling. It's really the education where we get a lot of great stuff. So our elementary schools are actually not even able to keep up with the number of kids that we have. So if we look, right now we've been building the plain elementary school. It's this guy here. It's pretty beefy in terms of size, and it can have up to 1,000 students. There is a small elementary school which can do up to 400 students. If we check this guy, you're at capacity. There's no additional room for you there. You know what? I have all of this on. I don't want this on at all. Go ahead and turn that off. This elementary school is not nearly at capacity yet, but getting there, you're at capacity. We have an elementary school here, which is at capacity. So we need an additional elementary school to continue to service some of these areas. So let's go ahead and look at an urban elementary school. It can hold up to 1,500 students, which is fantastic. It does cost a bit more money. And we are making money, so we're fine with it. Let's build this guy in here. I think we deserve this urban elementary school. I wouldn't mind, too, seeing if we could, like, sneak this in somewhere where we currently don't have any other things going on. So we've got a business here, but we don't have a business here. We don't have a business here. We do have a business there. We have a business there. We don't have one here. These are already filled with folks. Actually, this block here, there are no businesses active on this block. So the city's going to come in. We're going to buy this land. And actually right across from this parking lot, we are going to place down this brand new inner city high school, which I just want to say, this is much more beautiful than any of the inner city high schools that I know of. Period. I would love to work at this high school. Very nice. Okay. So the total upkeep here is 37. Awesome. Additional floors constructed on top. Oh, shut the front door. Official Wheatywaffle merch. Yep, you can bet a full stack of flapjacks it is. We've got a t-shirt, another t-shirt, an embroidered dad hat, and a frickin' waffle pattern fanny pack. You can support the channel and check them out in the merch shelf below or by visiting wheatywaffle.com. They did not. That's incredible. And a courtyard playground. Oh, so just changes that back area to a playground. You have got to be kidding me. That is remarkable. I just want to say, if this was initially planned to be locked behind some type of paywall, I am grateful that they saw the error in their ways and they realized they needed to add this type of building to our game, because this is fantastic. Now, we also don't have much demand for anything right now. So what we're going to do is make a few small changes. This building is already empty, so there's no sense in us keeping it if it's just going to sit there. I'm going to shift this zoning over so that we can go ahead and squeeze in some commercial buildings right next to it. Some office, excuse me. And then I think here as well, we still have that demand. It's going to satisfy some of the need that we have for people wanting to be employed. So it's worth getting these filled in. All of this here, these are all also empty. So let's go ahead, just come in here and let's get rid of these buildings. Are these guys empty as well? This one is. This one is not. Okay. Just interesting. They've got like this path. It's a 2 for 2. Can we just force everything to be against this front-facing road? Not unless I keep this path there, which I guess I'm fine with doing. Go ahead and place the path there. Just leave it. Now we have this area opened up, which is great. I will say this employs how many people? 9. It's not making an impact enough for me to want to keep it. So let's go ahead, place that path there, clear out this. It now gives us even more zones to work with, which I think is very valuable. We can definitely use all those spaces. This can all become offices potentially, unoccupied buildings, local demand, taxes. So yeah, we'll see where we get to with this, but I think we're slowly going to get all of this kind of reoriented in a better spot. I will say, let's go ahead and bump this up to 7%. And now that we're over $1 million, let's reduce this down to just under $1 million. And the reason for that is that I want to kind of encourage having some of this commercial come back. As well as here, I'm going to put all this at 13. I think the 13% could be 12%, the 12% tax rate for residents. I'm not yet ready to do any more messing with that. I'm fine with the industrial being where it's at, but I would like to see some more demand for commercial. And I think to do that, we need to be a bit more enticing with the taxes. All right, so this is going to fill in. That's great. What kind of impact have we now made on our education? Let's check. So high school, 1,308. This was the elementary school. We still don't have enough students. And I'm wondering if we need another downtown elementary school. I mean, I think we just might. Like, I want these people to be graduating. And yeah, I think we have a second urban high school. Now, this one, let's look. You are unoccupied. You are occupied. You are also occupied. Here, these are all joint, so I wouldn't want to mess any of those up. What are these? These are some smaller offices. However, we have so much office demand right now that I could see us replacing these with a high school instead. Orchard Lane. I don't want to mess up these buildings. I really like those, but I am considering potentially going in there and knocking all that down. What do we have here? Is this all? This is joint. I don't want to mess up the joint stuff. These are small houses or small offices, which I guess could be replaced. I want to do this right. I don't want to just knock buildings down for the sake of knocking a building down, you know? Like, if I'm going to knock it down, it better be for a good reason. These buildings are all empty. These are all residential. These are 2 parking lots, medium parking lots, which we did receive additional parking lots. So here's what I think we do. I think we remove all of this here. clear out this block. And then let's go ahead and place down another inner city high school over this way. We'll place it here. There's nothing along this wall, which just tells me it's begging to have something placed next to it. Do I want to do... I'm afraid the offices are going to be too tall. So what we're going to do instead is we are going to do regular mixed-use housing. I don't think it's going to be utilized in the immediate. That's okay. And we did remove some parking lots, but we now have a number of new parking lots. We have a motorcycle parking lot, which is very small, but I like. The tiny parking lot, which really just nestles nicely in here. It looks like it's a 2x3. The modest parking lot, which fits perfectly in here. So that's what we're going to do. Very small, quaint. It's got a little bush hedge to it as well. Love that. And right behind here, we could consider doing 2 small parking lots behind the school. So we replace what we took away, but also we're able to add in a new high school. Now let's look here. If we zoom out, this high school is located in Crestview. Crestview currently has 963 children. I think this is the Crestview elementary school. This elementary school should not be serving Crestview. It's not. It's serving Kersey, which has 1,600 kids. Oh my gosh. This high school could be serving McDry, which has only 300 kids, and Belmont, which has 800 kids. Yeah. So this elementary school, I keep calling them high schools. This is going to serve McDry and Belmont. Okay. This does not need to do McDry, does not need to do Belmont. Okay. Let's go ahead and give these names too. So this is going to be McDry Elementary. And then this one here is going to be Belmont Elementary. Actually, no, this is going to be the McDry Belmont Elementary. It's going to be both. This guy here is going to be the Crestview Elementary. Okay. And then over here we have this high school, which is the Kersey Elementary School. It's definitely reaching its limit, but that's just going to happen because it's also servicing Summit Hill, which I don't think long-term is going to work. We really need a high school down this way, but I don't want to build another one until we can kind of level out some of this demand. How are all these things doing? They're doing good. We've got residents, we've got households. It looks like these buildings here, which used to all be empty, are now filling up again, which is really nice to see. We've got some buildings there. Great. These are all filled. This one is not, nor is this one, but this one has a company in it, which is great. This is kind of our tell right here. This is the view. This is available. This is available. These are available. But if you notice, this has employees. This has employees. This has employees. We're beginning to come back from the brink. We love to see it. I do think we need another high school. How are we on the budget? We're still doing fine on the budget. I think we're probably, yes, we're bringing in some more taxes, which we really want. The taxes for industrial have really, really dropped. Let's give a tax subsidy to 4% to food, convenience, furniture, grain, paper, timber, veggies. These are the things that we are making most of. So let's give them a subsidy and see if in doing so, we can bolster. Actually, you know what? Hold on. Don't give any subsidy to these businesses. They already exist in our city, and there's no reason for me to cut back on the income that they're providing. Right? Like we already are getting money from them because we already made these businesses. But let's give a subsidy to the second step in that process, right? So we're going to keep lumber at its current tax rate of 18%, but the timber and the furniture, yeah. Let's see if that changes anything. And just for the sake of our knowledge here, where are we standing with, keep hitting the wrong things. Where are we standing with our current income? 200, we'll call it 220. All right, 220,000 is the income. So we gotta maintain something in and around 220. This neighborhood does in fact need to have its own high school. I will say I don't love like this whole central area. It just is a little too free flowing for me. And I think all these are filled in, so I don't want to mess anything up there. We do have, no, we just have that one. Oh no, both of those. Okay, you know what? You sell electronics. Sorry guys, I'm sorry. This has to go here. Oh, but it's too big. What's going on right here? What are you? You are just a apartment building, and you are also an apartment building, which is something we have no demand for, which we don't love to see. We do have some open spaces that could become office. However, I don't think the zoning is working out that way, so we're just going to leave that be. What is this? You have 185 people. I mean, I would love for this just to become the school, but I think the school is just a lick too big for that. Yeah. All right, this is going to be controversial. I think I say that every episode, but we're going to redevelop this block. It doesn't seem like the right time. I know. But A, I can't stand how this block is looking. And B, I just want this to look nicer. It doesn't look nice, so it needs to be redone. Sorry, it does. All right, this is going to come straight on through. Just connect straight on in like so. That's going to allow me to, with this new land, place down for sure a city high school. We will place it down here on the corner, so it's perfectly cornered there, which I like. I like the way that looks. It is mainly going to focus on Summit Hill. That's it. Summit Hill is the district. Summit Hill now has far less people living in it, but it still has 1,923 students. So this will not take long to fill up. In the interim, we are still having this boom of office. So I would not mind, I guess, bringing the office to here a bit. I do think that this probably should get the expansion just right off the bat. It just needs it. We're going to give it both to make it a bit more enticing. It costs $50,000 total a month to maintain. I'm fine with that. And then even though there's not a demand yet, we are going to go ahead and fill in this corner, this section here, cut this guy off, and go ahead and fill this in as well. Just like so. If I were to remove this, does that totally ruin it? No. Okay, awesome. Now, now, let's go ahead and do a pathway right behind here. Just kind of cutting all that off. Should that become an alley? I don't know. But I do think, do we have any transportation routes on this road? No. I do think I want to see an additional connection here from basically here to here, but I don't know if we're going to be able to do that with that train. No, there's one spot where it works, but I think that's connecting actually underground, which is not what we're looking for. So maybe we just leave that be for now. Okay, that's not going to fill in the immediate, so we just have to kind of chill with it. Have we been able to address education? Let's check. Almost. We're getting there, but not quite. High schools are also at capacity. Now, if you recall, we were having an issue because this high school takes care of Linden Crest, it takes care of Summit Hill, it takes care of McDry, Kersey, Crestview, and Belmont. So it's covering this half. It has its expansion, which frankly it doesn't need. We're going to deactivate it for now, and it still is fine. This high school, also fine. But this high school down here, also fine. Hold on. Delete the expansion wing. You don't need it. And we're going to delete the library because I'm not paying for it. Sorry, guys. We're not paying for that. All right, so this high school is doing fine as well. Who's not covered? You're covering Fairview Ridge, you're covering Lake East, you're covering Grove Crest, and you're covering Coleridge Bluff. You are covering Manor Acres, you're covering Elizabeth, Hawthorne, and Washington. Who does not have high school coverage, because you're telling me there's not enough. Now there is. Okay, great. College. Moving on to the next. We've got one college. It can support up to 1,500 people. It does not have an operating district. However, it is not able to apparently reach everyone, mainly this area down here, but there's nothing I can do about that. Our library would increase the dropout, but I'm not concerned about it at the moment. I think we're fine. Our capacity is there. We have way more eligible, but no one is using it. But I don't think we need to do anything crazy to make that happen. And the McDry University, again, we have a lot more eligible, but you're not even full up, babes. So like, I'm not adding more to this. Okay, so I think that that's pretty much covered. When it comes to our fire coverage and police specifically, we did unlock or receive new urban style service buildings. So for fire, we're covered. I'm not really concerned. Police, we ended up removing the larger police station that was here and building out this little guy. This guy costs $45,000 to run with no upgrades or additions. If we look at the urban police station, it costs $220,000 to build and costs $22,500 a month to run, which is a bit more than the regular police station, but I do think it's going to fit in better. So we're going to remove that from there. Those are office buildings. Unfortunately, they are not the exciting buildings I thought they were. Right across from the elementary school, or excuse me, yes, the elementary school, we're going to place this new urban police building. It does have an upgrade, which is just a helipad that goes on the roof. But for now, I think what we have here is just fine. There is some serious grade change here, which I don't love seeing, but what are you going to do? And in the meantime, I'll show you something else that we got. You can now select the age of trees. So let's go to this, let's see, oak. Look at this, age. You can do sapling, young, mature, or elderly. I'm going to place in some elderly oak trees. In addition to all this, you've also been able now to, I have both selected, place trees and things much closer together than what you were allowed to do previously, which I do just have to say is such a relief, because the way this was set up before, I just thought was really a poor kind of way of implementing this. So this is a much appreciated upgrade. Let's place in some pines as well. Yeah, that already just looks so much nicer. This building is upgrading. Very exciting. We love to see it. We're still doing final profit. We're actually making more than we were before, which is great. And I think our taxes have gotten better. Industry has gone up from 220 to 268. Do we think any of that is yes? We are receiving income now from our subsidized industries, which is awesome. So we're going to just let that keep doing its thing. And we're playing on normal speed, so it's not like we're really seeing a lot of fast moving changes here. With this new monthly balance that we seem to be able to maintain, I do want to quickly go back and revisit our services. We never touched the roads. We didn't mess with those. They're fine. We didn't really mess with electricity. In fact, electricity is the only place where we make a profit, so I'm not going to complain. The water we did cut the budget for, so we're going to bring the budget back up to 100, and we're going to bring the service fee back down. So it is changing a little bit overall, but now we're at 150,000. Doesn't make a huge impact on our overall budget, which is great. Healthcare. Healthcare took a major hit. I'm comfortable paying up to $500,000 for healthcare. So let's see where that takes us to. At 100, we're back to normal. So let's put it at 100 and let it be. And then garbage, I'm also going to do, actually not garbage, police, excuse me, is where I want to come back. I want to put police back up to 100, and I want to put fire back up to 100. The rest we're going to leave alone for the moment. I got to see how this plays out and what kind of impact this has long-term on the budget. But I would rather those services be at their maximum than long-term keeping them subsidized. Not even subsidized, keeping them just the overall budget reduced. In terms of healthcare coverage, overall, we seem good. I really don't think I need to add anything additional. We do have a number of ambulance nodes popping up. I could potentially get into adding a I don't really want to add a small. All I would want to add is a hospital, and I just don't think we're there yet. I mean, we got some decent money, but I want to add the hospital. I also want to get rid of all of this industrial, but unfortunately, people have actually moved in now, so the time for me to have deleted this has come and gone. Is what it is. We're not using all the buses, but that's okay. You're doing fine. You don't have any vehicles in use, so that's great. Let's go ahead while we just let this kind of sit here. Let's look at our ground here. There's not too much grade change anywhere. All right, let's go ahead and do some road building just to kill some time. We'll see where it gets us. The question is, lowest peak. I mean, it's all a cliff. Do we try to build on the cliff or do we leave the cliff alone? That's where you can sound off in the comments. Like, what the heck do we do with that? I mean, good Lord. It just is like not built for development at all. I think here, I'd actually like to just kind of curve this in, I think. Just blend this into the rest of the street network. I think that's okay with me. We have this connection here, which is already proving to be something that people are using. What is the grade change if I were to come from here and just kind of zone in? It's a 12. It's fine. You're a car, so you should be able to handle that relatively easily. I am going to just adjust this connection so it doesn't have that clipping happening. That's much better. Right up against the trees. I like that a lot. And then I think too, we could extend this to not there. Let's go back to straight. Extend this to here. And we're going to extend this over along this cliff. But then we're not going to do anything with it. And we're going to leave it alone. We'll put in a little alley. But I think there could be something we put here that like looks out over the bay or something. I don't know. Let's give it a small roundabout with a tree just to kind of cap that little section off. Looks like a nice additional expansion to this area. I love this curved road kind of connecting in. Let's go ahead. This is originally a part of the Jurors Divide. I do think that that is going to change. Anarchy's staying on for this because I don't understand the district tool. All right, Anarchy back off. If we start a new district... There we go. Okay, so now we have Sunset Springs. I think I would rather Sunset Springs. I think lowest peak would be better served if it was this whole base area. So I know we just did this whole little zoning area bit here, but let's back this up. I don't want this a part of this zone. Anarchy, delete, no anarchy. Thank you. Really testing my nerve. All right, get rid of that. Let that be straight. That's fine. And then here, bump one in, turn anarchy off. What are you colliding with? You're not colliding with anything. That's not accurate. That is just like factually incorrect. All right, bam. And then let's turn off all of our snap twos. Also, I just want to make note, I am seeing some residential demand, which is really exciting because what I would like to do in the next part is figure out what a suburb on the other side of the river would look like. We do have some complaints of high taxes, but I think we've kind of adjusted our economy a bit here. So let's do another reduction. We were here. We're going to go down to right there. No more than 250. Here, I'll go down a bit. No, I won't. Yeah. No, I won't. We'll leave it there. I am going to do one more raise on taxes for our office. And residential, I'm going to do a reduction of 2 points. So again, kind of trying to finesse the budget and force demand through lowering taxes strategically. Now, it looks like we're still maintaining a really decent monthly balance. So let's go back over here. Let's go to garbage maintenance. We are at 213. If I bump this to 100, we're at 326. Even with that change, it's not going to cause any major impacts. 100. Ooh, education. This is where so much of this service efficiency is coming into play. We're not even spending 200,000 on education right now. We're at 175. If we took education back to 100, it's going from 175 to nearly $1 million. What we got to be mindful of here is how much this is going to cost us. We don't have any service trade loans. We don't have any subsidies. Okay, we're at 2 million. Let's let it be. Let's see what happens with it. We are starting to have some crime. I do know that crime is another issue that seems to pop up a bit as you play. So I don't know if that's been fixed or not yet, but it's just something we got to keep in mind. This building here has 5 vehicles, and we built out this expansion wing. I don't think we need it. So we're going to remove that expansion wing. I also don't think we need the additional vehicles. I just don't think they're necessary. We're going to leave that as is. We are seeing some people moving in, which is wonderful. And that's also something to note. We've got some demand for low density. All of this, I believe, is already zoned low density. You'll notice the red is basically gone. We are now into like a yellow cream color. So eventually this is going to get itself together. I do think too, we're in a good enough spot that we could go ahead and reactivate these lines, see if people will begin to use them. Let's, because we have this road network built out, that's great. Let's go ahead and build out a little road network here for Linden Crest. I know this is a very, very hilly section of land. However, I also know that I want this to become a little bit of a town in a sense. So we are going to try to give it a little bit of an interesting road network. Nothing super crazy, but I do just want to have some housing along this riverfront. So we'll do something like that. We're going to come slope too steep. That's 18. Ooh, that's too much. What about this? Let's keep it below 15 if we can. Yep, I'm fine with that. We'll send another road straight up here. And then over here, I mean, this is also a hill, but we don't want this to become a cul-de-sac because the last thing we want is to build a cul-de-sac that has no other exit. So we'll place this road here, gives us a nice loop around. I do think there's a bit more we could do here. So let's send this straight on over to, I'd say maybe here, I guess. Do a little bit of a curve here and also do a bit of a curve going in. Okay, keeping some of those trees there if we can. And then I'm also going to curve along this waterway. Until we get to here. And then I think we're going to interconnect these new districts. So we're going to connect this to here, connect this to here, just expand that a little bit. This is relatively flat. There would be no reason not to connect this up. I can't get a 90 there. If I go here, can we get the 90? Yes. Okay. And then I think we will do a road here with a small tree roundabout. Give us some continuity to some other neighborhoods as well. And maybe, do we put an additional road? Let's turn on the curve. Yeah, I mean, the slope here is very minimal. So what if they all came here? I don't know. This is me now just messing around. But what if they all came here? And what if there was like a nice big roundabout there with trees? So you're driving around and you get to this like 4-way connection. I think that's kind of fun. Okay, so now we have Linden Crest built out a bit. But Linden Crest, if we remember, can also connect around. So let's do this. We're going to have to do a bit of terraforming for this to work. Let's grab this guy here. Let's grab this slope. Let's go from here to here and let's slope this. There we go. I think that's a better slope all around. We will do a bit of softening along the edge. Bit of softening in here as well. Bit of softening. Beautiful. Now, let's take this and begin to curve. We're only at a 9% grade. I mean, that's so minimal for a car. I'm fine with that. Let's keep this straight. Right here, we are going to connect in to this. I want that to be close to 180. That's fine with me. This one, I think, if we can get past the support beams, this can go straight on over. Okay, we'll do that to there. And I don't think we do anything else over there. I like some of the trees we have. I will do a connection from here to here. No, it doesn't leave a lot of room for zoning, but I'm okay with that. I really actually like this district already a lot. Let's also close this loop. It can be straight. I'm fine if it's straight, but I do just want to see... It does cause Heather to be like this weird loop, but that's okay. We could even potentially add in one more connection here at the top there. And then I do also, I mean, we're not, this is below some of the densest part of the city, but this is still like a decent area, right? Like you're close to the city here. So we're going to have some small little alleyways and some back road connections to different places that, you know, are remnants of when this was an older city that have slowly been absorbed into the main city. But, you know, I want to have some of this just like small town kind of feel to it. And I think some of these little alleyways help do that. All right, let's do one more. I don't like that she's curving. That's not the vibe. But I want it to look like it's an extension of one of those roads. I don't know if I like this at all. I don't like that. All right, we're going to leave it alone. We're going to leave it be. We have a lot of small demand. This is all going to be beach housing. Along Beach Street is going to be commercial. So we will reserve that for commercial. Everything else around it is going to be probably all residential. I think we can do this here residential. We do all this residential. We'll do this residential. We'll leave Heather Street alone. This will be residential. This will probably be commercial as well, along with this. We'll probably leave this triangle empty, and then definitely everything here can become residential. Let's also just do 3 back along there. I'll leave the rest alone. What kind of cliff does that cause? Too much cliff for my taste. Sorry guys, I know you just set up shop here, but there's just too much cliff there, and I don't like it enough to keep you. So you gotta go. We're gonna just try to smooth that out a bit, smooth this out a bit. That looks pretty decent. Rest of that's going to continue to fill in. We've basically just destroyed any demand we had there. I know we don't necessarily need commercial yet. However, we are going to go ahead and zone it in just so we have it. So I think that looks pretty good. Let's check on services for this area. So in terms of healthcare, Linden does in fact require a bit of healthcare. So I think we're going to give it the small little clinic. I think that's awesome. Death care, crematorium's getting a bit taxed, so we could probably benefit from another crematorium. We don't have one on this side of the city at all, so I think we place a crematorium in here as well. It's a bit bigger of a building, but I think we place it off the beaten path, just underneath this bridge, right? It's beautiful, and it's a nice looking building, so there's nothing wrong with it. And is all of this already Linden Crest? It is fantastic. Now, we did not do any zoning over here. Got to get back to those services. But first, let's zone all of this for regular low density, not the waterfront. I think kind of Pearl Street is where that divide takes place. I think if you're on this side of Pearl Street, you maybe have a different style housing. But if you're over here looking out, you have this style. And I will intersperse just a few buildings of medium density. I think that'll look nice. We'll do a little corner store. And we will also do just a small little office sector. Maybe right there in the corner. That's the low density, right? Yeah, great. All right, so now we've got an additional little neighborhood here, which is fantastic. We did healthcare, we did death care. Garbage, I think we're fine. I don't see any red buildings, and until we begin to see red buildings, we're good. So we're going to leave that alone. Education, Linden. Linden. All right, let's see. We've got McDry Belmont, nearly at capacity. Not going to be able to support additional. We have, I guess this is Summit Hill Elementary. And Summit Hill Elementary is going to be at capacity once we add in Sunset Springs. Let's go ahead and just do that now. So we have Summit Hill and Sunset Springs, so they're both covered. Oh, nice. The ground turns green when you've added in an area. Oh, fantastic. So that's how we know Linden does not have any coverage. Also, I don't know why this building, there's one household that lives here right now, but I don't know why they say they have terrible access to elementary school. They need an elementary school in Linden, and I think it's the perfect chance to build the small elementary school. I think we should. It's tiny. It's cute. It was almost about to fit in one of those little areas, but unfortunately that's not going to happen for us, which kind of sucks. We could try it here. I think the slope is going to prove to be a problem. Or we could put it here, kind of just in the heart of the downtown. You pass the elementary school every day. It only functions in Linden, and, you know, we let it be. Now, the expansions here are a gymnasium. Oh, wow. It's very big. And could go anywhere, though. So we could put the gymnasium somewhere else, as well as an extension wing. Again, pretty big, gnarly looking buildings. Okay, so we have the small elementary school. I mean, Linden right now, does it even have any students? It's got 16, so tiny class. Linden is not going to get its own high school. And I would say this even has an expansion wing. Reactivate. It was deactivated. Let's add. Linden Crest is already on there. Great. The library, we never deactivated. Great. Okay. So that I think can stay as is. Are you being covered by fire? You are. Are you being covered by police? You are. Jail's looking good. Prisons we don't have. I'd love to keep it that way. I don't think we're able to. I think in-game it's going to cause some problems long-term. We did get a bunch of new parks for free, which is very exciting. We have now a tiny city park. We have a ring park. And then under large parks, we got a passage park, a hedge park, a multi-purpose park. Frankly, I don't even think we need this. But I want to build the multi-purpose park. Somewhere. Somewhere be the right size for the Shut up. How are you so perfect? Turn off the snap to. Place it right here in the middle. I believe it's auto-connected. So now we have a multi-purpose park just right there. Love to see it. No edits or suggestions, he says when he has an edit or suggestion. I would love to see it connect up somehow. There we go. There's one. Auto save. There's 2. 3. 4. Right here we have a crosswalk. I think that's good. I'm happy with that. I don't have any changes to that. Great. Okay. We're actually seeing the office demand go down a touch, which is exciting because that means that things are going the way they're supposed to go. Got some beautiful buildings here. Wonderful. Got a lot of cabs over here. Have not done public transit over this way yet. If we look at our kind of barometer skyline, we have no office or businesses in some of these. However, it does all around look like we maybe, nope, that's still available. Interesting. And that one even has signage on it, which I find fascinating. So I wonder if they recently went out of business. This area filled in pretty nicely. We got another one of these beautiful buildings. Huge fan. I do think that the building I love the most over here changed. I don't think it was this to begin with. This is giving like beachfront. That is not what was here before. I wish, and they removed this, but I wish you could add the mark as historical. That used to be an option in the first game. It doesn't look like it made it to this game, and I'm a little bummed by that. That was a great add. Because you could just keep buildings. They could level up still, but you would be able to keep the building that in the aesthetic that it had. Okay, I think this all looks pretty good. We're running up here on time. Let's do a bit more checking, just to make sure we got everything we need. A small post office would actually be fantastic. This is another addition we got here. So let's just slap in a small post office for this neighborhood. I think that's great. It also has a mail storage extension. I don't believe we need this just yet. For now, we are dedicating this post office exclusively to Linden and to McDry, I think. It's gonna be a tiny little guy. And then we never actually placed a park in this small area. So let's do that. Let's grab this circular one. I guess it could go anywhere. Like, what does that look like? It's kind of like right behind the school. It mimics this roundabout. I'm into that. That is great for me. I'm cool with that. We've already built all of these. So there's nothing to build there. We've got parks. We've done the post office. You're covered by kinda the telecoms. Well, you know what? Telecom. Did we change the service there? We did. We took it down to 78. Budget-wise, we're still making $2 million. And this is costing us $256,000. At 100, it only cost us $329,000. So I'm not going to complain there. Everything here is basically back up to 100%. It is back up to 100%. Perfect. How's production going? Have we done anything with the material goods? Yes, we are now actually producing a few. Not the ones I was hoping for, but we are producing some, which is great. So we're now at 2 million monthly balance. Let's get a sense, not of that. Let's get a sense of, first of all, the skyline is looking gorge. Let's get a sense of where we're at with some of our stats here. Commercial jobs is still rising. It is not at the level it once was, but this time scale is for 1 year, and it is about where it was before I think we really began to expand into our downtown. So that will continue to go up. Offices increasing. We're starting to see the demand for office drop a bit, which is great news. And industrial increasing. Still no demand received yet, but we did notice earlier that over here, I guess in the Joe's Divide, no, in Factor Shore, some of these office buildings, which were empty in the last part, are now filled, which is great. If we come over here, this whole area has filled in, and we're beginning to see more buildings than not have a company in them. Company, empty, empty, empty. Okay, maybe that's a false statement. That's an office. Okay, actually, we're still struggling pretty heavily, it looks like, with the industrial. If we click industry, there's not a button that shows me if a building is occupied, which I think that would be really valuable. Land values. Let's look at land values. Yeah, the downtown's getting some nicer land value. Love to see it. Profitability, all around good. I mean, here we go. This is how you tell if a building is occupied or not. So as you can see, I would guess all these gray buildings are empty. So we have an overabundance of zoned office space, but they're just not able to produce or not able to get filled out yet, which kind of sucks. I guess this shows everything. We did remove this entire sector before. So there's only this industry. However, I guess with all of this other industry we added in the last part, it may make sense. I mean, this is employing 19 people, 17, 24, 18, 10, and 20. Yeah, so I guess it makes sense. I mean, it's just going to take some time for us to continue to see that grow. It's just taken longer than I thought. What matters is it's going up, and in the past 6 months, it's going up. We have recovered from this dip, which I think is what's important. Slow increase, but it's steady. How are we with, remove all this, workers? Are we seeing a steady increase in workers? We are. Commercial, industrial, office, city service, all that's working well. The unemployed, they dropped. They're beginning to rise again, but I think we just got to give it some more time. The number of companies is coming back. Again, we had this huge drop off. I mean, what are you going to do? Trade-wise, we're doing a lot of importing of a lot of things, and I don't love it. Overall wealth, here we go. This is, wow, the bubble burst, y'all. The bubble burst. I mean, we were up at 1.2 trillion wealth for our commercial sector, and now our commercial sector has a much more modest wealth of 140 million, but still pretty decent. And that would, I think, make way more sense for a city this size. Good God. Okay, so unemployment's still at 31. Don't love, but all around, I think we're seeing positive growth. That's where we're going to leave this part here. I'm excited. I think we're on the right track. I think things are moving correctly. We built out Linden Park. It's going to take a while to zone in. We added some additional connections, which I think is nice. Redid some services and zoned out Sunset Springs. Don't love the name, but we now have this other district that eventually we'll be able to build out once we have the demand there. But for now, that's where we're going to leave this part here. So thanks so much for watching, and I will see you all in the next one.